Restaurant Unstoppable. Inspire, empower, and transform the industry. Being the essence of that, right? I think some people worry, like if they outsource production, that it's almost like a cheating or like cutting up in bags, right? There's something wrong with that. What are your thoughts as I'm saying? Is there a stigma? I don't want to be. I'm trying not.
No.
I hope that's not
No.
offensive
No.
to say, but I'm trying to prove the benefit in this. And someone like Paul Perdone sees the benefit in it. Like there's got to be something here. Like what is the benefit in it?
Well, I mean, there comes a point where your growth forces you to do things because you can no longer execute at the quality level you want to get the volume you need.
And you perfectly spelled out his standards.
Oh,
and if he's willing to take this route, there's definitely a stigma, I think, within the industry when it comes to like not taking food like that as seriously. But at the same time, fill in the blank.
The majority of successful large independent and say people who own 2 or 3 small chains thrive on the fact that they can get some manufacturing help.
I think a part of the issue, and this is just one thing I noticed, and correct me if you think it might be something else, but I think there's some ego involved in the industry and maybe a little too much pride.
Well, there's ego, and then there's reality. Okay, the ego is always there because they're the guy looking at you saying, "Don't you ever tell anybody you do work for me."
Right,
and that's fine. I mean, we
do experience this? Is this you're shaking your head?
All the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that's fine.
And I understand it.
You know, think about running the operation. You've been in them, and you've got a lot of bodies back there, and turnover is always an issue. You're trying to maintain a standard of quality, especially around, say, your name dishes. Okay, and let's say it's got 5 or 6 different components with a sauce or something, or a soup, a liquid. You realize that, all right, I can have this guy do the time-consuming part that doesn't take a executive chef, that doesn't take
making $30-$40 an hour,
a really great line cook to do, but will help him. And so the real smart people who know how to use this, there's a concept called semolinas here that was run by 3 guys called the Taste Buds, and they have Zias now. Gary Darling knew how to take a product, and he would bring it in, and they would add 2 or 3 things to it. It would burst it with flavor, and you would get exactly the results you want, and you could replicate it. And the food was spectacularly good. You have tight controls over what the manufacturing side can do and what the output product has to be. I mean, the specs we deal with are so bloody narrow. How thick is it? What color is it? What ingredients are you allowed to use? What are you not allowed to use? How is it handled? How all the things that go into making food taste the way food tastes, rather. So we do that. Only difference is our tools are bigger. Mm-hmm. I mean, a restaurant might have a 150-gallon kettle if it's doing a hell of a lot of soups and sauces. I mean, ours are substantially larger.
Yeah.
We run Alfredo sauce at 5,000 pounds a batch, and it's bigger stuff.
Yeah. One of the questions I ask all my guests is, what's one thing that you outsource for? So basically, that's a tool or service, or not, it's not a tool part, sorry, but a service to do something that you can never do as well in-house. And the reason why I ask that question is to help connect good people with good people. Also, I want people to understand that if you can find somebody, especially if they're local, right, and support local economy, who does something way better than you could ever do it. Let's use bread as an example. Almost all of us outsource bread, right? If we're a sandwich shop, we're not going to make our own bread if we don't have to. If there's a bakery down the street that's famous, right? Why not source the bread from the bakery? Why not use that mentality with other things? If you can't do it as good as this company that does it, that's what they do, then why not save yourself the labor costs? If what's wrong with supporting your neighbors and supporting other businesses? What's wrong with that?
Plus,
it creates more opportunity too and diversity in the industry,
and it helps you run your operation. Think about, all right, they said, well, I can make this cheaper, and I go, you really can? You think you can? Okay, let's talk about that.
Right. Right.
Let me see your formula, your recipe. First of all, in all the years I've been doing this, when an owner hands me the company recipe, the establishment's recipe for a sauce, okay, and I say, fine, that's great. I'll take the recipe now. I want to come in who makes your sauce? So they said, well, that's Chef William over there. I said, fine. I need to come in the day he makes this sauce and watch him do it, okay? So I go in and watch him do it, and I take the recipe, and I watch William do it, and I have yet to have him make it exactly the way that recipe is. It's now chef to chef, especially if he's the third different guy that's made it since this was written, which is not unusual, okay? It's migrated with each one of them. He makes it better. He's a sloppy measurer, okay?
Or he doesn't have an ingredient that he normally needs to use.
Ingredients change, okay? Ingredients change. Nature changes stuff. Tomato crops are different every year.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Some corn is sweeter than other corn. You're working with all these variables, okay? But virtually none of the recipes I've seen match what the hell they think is in that pot. And the technique is completely different. It's been changed. And the changes take place over time. And when you change something over time gradually, it's very hard to discern, for you to discern the change, because you're now pretty zeroed in on what's now. But that's not what you handed me. That wasn't the original recipe. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Number two, what's your yield? And then you get well, I guess it's what I put in the pot. And I said, no. You have evaporation. Mm-hmm. You have mismeasurement. You have all these things that go in. You don't know what your yield is. All right. When we make something for you, here's 20 pounds of it.
Yeah.
And we're accurate. That bag is accurate to 0.05 ounces.
What is that in grams? Do you know?
There's 29.3 grams, 29.35 grams.
It's pretty close in a big batch.
Yeah. All right. When you're buying, when you're doing this, you're buying 20 pounds. You got 20 pounds at least. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you know exactly what you paid for it. Cisco, here's the bill right here.
Yeah.
So you know what's cost going in. You really don't know.
Yeah,
when you're doing
precise,
it yourself. And how much labor do you have in it? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the most tricky.
Right. That is the trickiest thing. And that's the most expensive part.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
They would be here anyway. I'm saying not necessarily. They could be doing other things for you that improve, the way your food looks on the plate, that improves the way that you handle the protein. Instead of sitting here working like hell on this one product, we can do this for you.
Yeah.
He can concentrate on making sure that the protein that's going there is accurate and it's cut accurately. The meats are cut across the grain, not with the grain. All the stuff that happens to you when people are jammed up and are going too fast to pay attention and do the right job.
So I feel like I was going to save this question to the end. I usually ask this question at the very end of all my interviews. The mission statement is to inspire, empower, and transform the industry. We inspire by sharing our stories, and we empower by sharing our knowledge. And the whole transformative part is like, how can we change this industry to work better for more people, right? And I feel like, and one of the things that's coming into my mind, and maybe you can answer that question if you have another thought, but one of the things that comes to mind is by creating other verticals and encouraging more people to outsource and to support other businesses. And I think if we can encourage this more on a local level, then we can lower labor costs. We can create more businesses that don't need brick and mortar storefront, and we can just kind of level the playing field and kind of like flatten the the economic, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out. I'm drawing a blank right now. Those blue oak boys had us out like last night. I'm not gonna lie, the show was a good
Darn
time.
those boys, all their fault,
I'm struggling coming up with the words right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Held your head open and poured. Yeah,
it shares the wealth. It spreads the wealth out. You know,
yeah.
And there's a lot broken. I think this is part of the solution is encouraging people to stay in their freaking lane, right?
Yeah.
And then to outsource and support your neighbors, right?
Well, it should allow you to do the big thing, which is necessary, is to increase the benefits to the people who work for you, give them a better working environment, take some of the heat off of them, especially financially,
and yourself. I mean,
and
because,
yourself.
I mean, these days, good laborers, good workers are very hard to find.
Yeah,
and keep.
And I think you guys are proof that there are people who manufacture and produce food to be used in this manner and to do it really well.
That's the key.
And I think there's a stigma
quality
out there.
issue.
Yeah, there's a stigma out there, and there are some companies that
Yeah.
probably don't have your standards. I recognize that.
Right.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
But you can do this and I think maintain standard, and as long as your ego doesn't get in the way. I think that's the biggest culprit right there. And again, I don't want to put words and thoughts into your mouth, into your brains.
Yeah.
But where are you at?
Well, it's you notice how many people have left the industry in the last 2 years, and don't want to come back because they're burned, and I don't blame them. I mean, it's a rough industry. Hey, you ever wait tables? I mean, I'll go be a waiter. Come on, go pick that tray up.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to do that deadlift up for every table you do all night long. All right, and that tray gets anywhere from 10 pounds to 40 pounds of food on it. You go do that for a while. Go listen to some people who are less than courteous with you for no reason other than they feel like they're empowered to be that way and you're not.
Yeah.
It just there's a lot of things about that.
Yeah.
But I think by you go to look at Brightson, okay? Brightson's got a lot of family and friends who have worked for him. They are wonderful
Still
employees.
working for him.
And they are. And they're Rhonda, Myrna, they are
35 years later?
Yeah, he's not
Crazy.
Their turnover is nil.
He's a special. He's a really special
He almost had
guy.
me at tears a few times during
Yeah.
our
yeah,
conversations.
yeah. He's a really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when
He's a
we
great
went in there,
employee.
we went in there with our daughter, Brooke. Our oldest daughter was with us, and he came to the table, and we were with a business associate whom we really like a lot, and we were all sitting there at the table together. And he said, "How did you like tonight's meal?" And we said, "Oh, it was great." And he says, "They're all Brooke's recipes." You know, and he gave her that, and of course they weren't, but it was kind of his charming way of including us all into that wonderful kind of magical world that is
He helps.
fabulous.
He's really good
restaurant.
at letting you feel seen.